Picture this, if you will. You're looking across a distance of water at two men standing on a bridge far up in the darkness above you. One of them lights a cigarette, then the cigarette gets thrown over the bridge and the light comes toward you. One of the men hands the other a piece of paper. The first one looks at it, tears it into shreds, and throws it over the bridge, then pitches the first man over the bridge. As the body falls, the camera comes past you, and the pieces of paper spell out the words, "The Spirit." What I've just described to you is the kind of cinematic visual that a man named Will Eisner created for a strip called The Spirit. Will Eisner produced this strip in a Sunday supplement for years and years. Today those strips are being reprinted and they're as fresh as they ever were. Because Will Eisner is, I suppose, the O. Henry of comic books. Every one of his little stories is complete, beginning, middle, and an end with a punch that'll kill you. As far back as the 40s, when he had the Eisner Studios turning out page after page of comics, and then he went on his own and began doing The Spirit, Will Eisner has been one of the motivating forces in the genre of high art in comic books. Today he does graphic novels, A Contract with God, Life Force. These are very special books that take place in the big city, the gritty film noir kind of city that James M. Cain wrote about and that Dashiell Hammett wrote about. Will Eisner is a talent that appears once every 100 years.
I've always written genuinely. For me, it was writing short story. The Spirit was somewhat different than what I had done before, or different in my mind from the average comic book hero. I wasn't really so much interested in creating a hero of enormous proportions like Superman or Batman or any other superheroes. I was more interested in telling short stories, or telling stories, or exposing an outlook. My main interest is the human condition. It always has been, and I fancy myself in a position to be able to write with my medium. Now, sequential art is a valid medium. I called it sequential art for want of a better name. I've always been annoyed from the very first day of my involvement in comics at the use of the word comics. Comics is a misnomer. Comics should not be comical. They should not be necessarily funny, as in the case of funny papers. This is a valid medium of expression, equal in respectability, if you will, to words without pictures or to film. I compose the page with as a single unit in itself, almost like, again, I refer to music as really a best example of what I do. Each page has a rhythm to it. I deal in timing. I'm concerned with the amount of time it takes for a character to move from panel to panel. My main concern is not display. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in a series of moving images captured at their moment of prime motion to tell a story. I want to convey tears. I want to convey anger. I want to convey the subtleties that people who write with words only are able to convey more easily. Visual communication is the name of the game in this field, and that concerns me tremendously. I watch very carefully whenever I'm walking in the city or anywhere what people do and how they do it, because it's how they do it, how they stand, their postures, their gestures, that communicate their inner feelings. I think of a panel as a stage with the proscenium arch and everything, and I arrange my figures in a panel in the same manner as a director would arrange actors on a given stage with entrances and movements. As far as lighting is concerned, wherever possible, I prefer to use theater lighting. I learned during the Depression, when I did some stage sets, that an enormous amount of scenery, an enormous amount of storytelling, visual storytelling, an enormous amount of environment can be suggested by clever lighting and by an arrangement of shapes and forms. I enjoy what I'm doing. I feel fulfilled when I've turned another corner, and there's just so much more yet to do. This medium is just at its infancy.